So God himself, in the person of Jesus Christ, came to us because we were powerless to save ourselves. So he came into this world through Mary. He lived a perfect life, the life that I cannot live, the life you cannot live, the life you cannot live. The one who did not deserve to die laid that life down as a sacrifice. The just for the unjust, the innocent for the guilty, to take the wrath of God in our place. So it demanded a perfect sacrifice. And that's what the Old Testament sacrificial system was pointing to. You know, a coming perfect sacrifice.
What makes wrath different than anger?
It's not, again, the English language doesn't do justice to it. It's not.
I know the
anger.
connotation that wrath is said with. I mean, obviously, it's pertaining to God and
well,
him exercising his power over people. But I just don't understand why inherently. I still don't understand what's the bench. Why is he the benchmark?
Because he's God. Because he's God.
Because
you know, here. Yeah, I mean that's because God is. He is the benchmark. If he was anything less than what he is, he wouldn't be God.
So why would he create a system in which we would fail, and then there is no way to get back?
There was, and that's the gospel of Jesus Christ. So Christ
we're still born with sin, though.
Yeah, but Christ takes that away. So Christ takes that guilt away when Christ laid down his life as a sin offering. So shed his blood on our behalf to satisfy the wrath of God. The wrath of God isn't an outburst of anger. God's wrath is simply just a settled response to sin. You know, I mean, it's not anything angry or out of control about it.
It seems more like a response to when people aren't devoting themselves entirely to him.
But there's no way for us to.
So then what's the point? Just
grace. Grace. We talked at the very beginning about common grace. God gives us good weather tonight. Come out here and enjoy this. God gives us rain and sunshine. That is common grace. But the grace that pertains to salvation is given to those who turn to Christ. He came to us. That was his grace, God's unmerited favor. He came to us and did what we could not do. He lived a perfect life and laid that life down as a substitute to take the wrath of God. So he laid his own life down to take his own wrath. I mean, imagine that. And on the third day, he was raised from the grave.
Why did he have to take his own wrath from himself?
Because none of us could.
Why not?
Because we would go to hell forever. Because we can never satisfy his wrath. Because we're not perfect. A sacrifice in the Old Testament sacrificial system had to be perfect. Okay, had to be, the firstborn of the flock, had to be without spot, without stain, without blemish, without any type of defect at all. Had to be quote unquote perfect. None of us are perfect. None of us are perfect. Why? Because all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. The wages of sin is death. We have 150,000 people that die every day. Our bodies, give out heart attacks, strokes, opioid overdoses, whatever. SIDS, whatever. Our bodies meet with death. The wages of sin is death. So we have a physical death, but there's also spiritual death. And that is where Christ spoke more about hell than anybody in the entirety of Scripture. Out of the presence of God. So away from God. And that's what the natural man wants. The natural man wants to be autonomous. The natural man wants to call the shots. He wants to say, well, no. I think this is good, and that's bad. That's why we have all the chaos in our culture right now. Because you got all these natural men, and you got believers in there too. But, you see the natural man rebelling against God. He wants to call the shots. He wants to do his own thing. He wants to be the authority and decide what is right and wrong. He basically wants to occupy God's throne. So that's the exact same thing Satan wanted to do, was to call the shots, be the head honcho, the one in charge. So, and that's when he got kicked out of heaven. So, but the bad thing is, now he's running all over the earth, doing his thing. But even apart from him, not even considering him, man is going to do what man is naturally going to do. He's going to throw a fit. He's going to riot in the streets. He's going to throw his Molotov cocktails. He's going to, march for that hashtag and get down there in front of the State House and chant and rage and do all this, that, and the other, because he wants his way. But Christ came to do what we cannot do, to take the wrath of God. We deserve the wrath of God. All of us do. Every one of us. From the least among us, these homeless folks, out here on the streets, all the way up to, the CEO of Wells Fargo. However much he's making a year, maybe a house on Lake Murray. And so, we're all in the same boat outside of Jesus Christ. But God, in his infinite mercy, has poured out his grace, his unmerited favor. And we see that in the person and work of Jesus Christ. Fully man, fully God, lived a perfect life, laid that perfect life down, the just for the unjust, to take the wrath of God in our place as our substitute. Raised from the grave on the third day, defeating sin and death in the grave, demonstrating the acceptability of his sacrifice